Good morning, guys, and welcome back to the Laurence McKenna on LFC channel, where essentially it's Christmas Day for us. We've been waiting for this for quite some time. The transfer window has basically felt like Advent, and we've been counting down the days until we did get Alexander Isak, something which we predicted months ago on this channel and spoke about months ago on this channel. Go take a look when we've been speaking about the striker and how he fit in at Liverpool last season, but also this season, and how he would fundamentally change things after the transfer window that we've just had. We will have a tactics video up on that later in the week, or probably later today, to be honest. It is a brilliant summer from Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes. It might feel like a massive fundamental overhaul, and it might feel different to the previous era of transfers that we're used to at Liverpool, but it doesn't stop each and every one of these transfers from fundamentally being a brilliant transfer. Isak obviously coming in for the price that we predicted on this channel, we would ultimately get to somewhere between the 110 and 150 million. We said 125 to 130. Guess where it's ended up. We've also obviously predicted that Alexander Isak would end up at Liverpool, as Liverpool allowed Newcastle, first of all, to go and find someone else, but secondly, to save face in the transfer market, or at least pretend to save face in the transfer market. The people who know about the reality behind the scenes and the people who know about the ultimately, I mean, the things that we've spoken about for quite some time on this channel, and people sort of called us liars or sort of said, hey, you guys don't know what you're talking about. We've consistently said this stuff. Ultimately, allowing Newcastle not to look like a bit of a pushover in public, but also obviously to maintain some of that self-respect, which is important for owning a club, but also running a club, and also obviously showing that Liverpool can't just go in, or a bigger club, or a club who's more advanced in terms of their transfers than Newcastle, advanced in terms of where they're at, can just go in and just take another player. So Liverpool and Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards probably deserve a statue outside St James's Park, let alone Anfield, after this summer. And there will be a conversation, I think, after the transfer window ends as to who deserves a statue where, and is this the greatest transfer window of all time, all these kinds of things. We've already kind of spoke. I think a lot of people spoke about that. I think a lot of people spoke about that in order to kind of derail Liverpool's season. We as Liverpool fans can legitimately talk about that now as our greatest transfer window, and a transfer window which is not only about the now, but also about the next 3 to 5 years, as Alexander Isak comes in and is reportedly going to sign a 6-year contract at Liverpool. With that, what we're doing is we're not only making this season a complete shift for Liverpool and, a gear shift up to, again, we're going to try and go for the title again, but we're also future-proofing against Mo Salah leaving in the next couple of years. We are now replacing people like Mane. We are bringing in a competent striker where Nunez was not that consistently for Liverpool. We're bringing in someone on the left, or at least bodies on the left. We've got Gakpo. We've obviously brought in Florian Wirtz. We've obviously brought in Ekitike, who can all, and I mean all, do a great job of not only goal scoring, but setting up and also being adaptable. If we're thinking again of Klopp as the Shankly, then this is the Paisley era for us with Arne Slot, a humble guy who is building on the back of a great legacy, which was very consistent at Liverpool, and not only about trophies, but about the feeling and the pride which was reinstilled in the club, which now draws players towards the team, draws players to want to play at Anfield, and is the reason that Liverpool end up tipping players over the edge. A lot of people speak about that atmosphere. You can see Hugo Ekitike feeding off it. Newcastle speaking about what a pleasure or an honour it is to play for them, as a bit of a dig at someone like Alexander Isak as he leaves. He's going to a club where it is an honour and a pleasure to play for those fans. Not that it isn't for every club, but you get what I mean. That is a real part of the culture that is instilled at you at Liverpool. So all of that goes to say, we've been predicting this for some time now, guys. We have been the people who have been saying, this is what's going to happen, this is where it's going to go down, and here's how it's going to play out, and here's what Liverpool are allowing behind the scenes. So while we've spoken about 4D chess, which is, by the way, a game which is now coming to an end, Liverpool have 4D chessed other people in this summer. We've got 2 fullbacks in. We're going to get a centre-back in. We're going to get a striker in. We brought in a cam, central attacking midfielder, who is, he's one of the best in the world, and he is growing into the league week by week, game by game. The role that we put in for him is slightly different to his one, so we'll see about that, the one that he had before. And now we're bringing in Alexander Isak, a fantastic striker, probably one of the few targets that people like Arsenal and Manchester, anyone else in the league would have wanted. And that is part of the reason why we're getting such pelters here, is because There is an element of jealousy. There is an element of, I wish our team had done that. I wish our team had gone out there and bought in, frankly, someone who was a rival's best player. And lots of people, including Arsenal fans, by the way, wanted to see Alexander Isak at their club. Fundamentally, they said earlier this summer, he will be leaving Newcastle. We should be making the bid for him. And Liverpool are the ones who are getting him. We put in the groundwork. We put in the fundamental hours and the runtime in order to get this guy. And now that he's coming in, I don't understand why more people weren't in the race for him. And the only explanation can be that Liverpool and he will have told other people he's only going to come to this club. This is the deal that he wants. This is the project that he's sold on. And that is then about getting Arne Slot, is about getting players who want to be part of this project. And so when people are saying, oh, mercenaries, people who come in for big money, Liverpool only got them because of XYZ, these players all had offers from elsewhere. These players all had the chance to go to other teams. And there may be a time where they will go to another team. You know, we've signed them all relatively young in their career. There may be a time when they go somewhere else, but they'll probably spend their peak years at Liverpool, what Liverpool believe to be their peak years, and they'll probably spend a lot of that time in front of an Anfield crowd who will want to be playing for a Champions League, a Premier League, and possibly even a quadruple or even a treble. That will be the fundamental goal at the start of every season, to go out there and win as much as possible, which is why when people are saying, how do you fit all of these pieces into one formation? You don't. At Liverpool, it is about rotation. It is about changing the system midway through the game to be hard to work out. It is about saying, you're playing this way, so we're going to play this way. You're changing your tactics, we're going to change and take advantage of that. That's what Slot did against Arteta yesterday at Anfield. And it is why Liverpool have become so unpredictable, not only in the transfer market, but also out on the field. It is why people are now frustrated in watching Liverpool and say, why can you switch things up in the end against Newcastle? Why can you win against Bournemouth so late? Why lots of people are calling us lucky is because they don't watch the football that we play week in, week out. They don't track the way that Arne Slot moves and changes games. They don't look at the way that Liverpool change formation or the shapes. They just look at the players, they see a shape and they go, that's the way that Liverpool will always play, because that's the way that their team play. Liverpool are changing the way that we play during a season when we would have been and are expected to capitalise and win a title. So am I expected us to hit the ground running? No. Did I expect it to get 3 wins in 3 when we started the season? I mean, probably if I was being very hopeful, yes. Honestly, no. I thought there would be a draw in there. I thought there'd be a loss in there. And I think the first time that we draw or lose this season, there are going to be so many people who throw insults and digs and all those things at this side. And they will do that because they want to see us fall. It's the same as happened against Arsenal yesterday for Liverpool. You know, oh, well, they only really won because of an incredible free kick. Yeah, we bought players that step up in big moments. We bought in a manager who changes things on the fly against other managers to try to confuse them, puts Szoboszlai in a brilliant position to be able to take a free kick, puts Curtis Jones further down the field, puts other players in a position where they need to foul Liverpool to, essentially stop a great counter-attack. Those kind of things, sure, they're moments that change games and they're moments that feel once in a lifetime. Liverpool won the game against Arsenal because we took a risk. And Arne Slot is not some risk-averse manager who comes in and only plays one specific style. It's become very clear, especially to Liverpool fans, that we're going to be watching an adaptable, exciting style of football. And it's why Newcastle, Bayer Leverkusen, Bournemouth, Bayer Leverkusen, who else do we bring in over the Mark Gray, have all had players leave to come to be part of a project which is exciting to them. Players left other projects where they felt more fixed, where they felt that their role was predictable, where they felt that their ceiling wouldn't be as high, because they felt that their ceiling would be higher at Liverpool. Florian Wirtz turned down Bayern. He turned down City. He came to Liverpool. Isak turned down Arsenal. He turned down other big opportunities to go to Liverpool. Mark Guay will have done the same with Newcastle. Frimpong will have done the same with other offers around Europe. Kirkes will have been explored by other teams, but Liverpool had already locked him down. Mamardashvili is sitting on the bench for Liverpool at the moment because of Liverpool's quality. This is not just about this season. This is about planning forward and we got our guy, or we're getting our guy for 125 to 130 million. That is lower than Newcastle originally set as their offer. And again, you don't always go to people's asking price straight away. People going, pay the money, release him. Behind the scenes, I think Liverpool have had this deal done for some time. I think we've had this deal agreed for some time, and we've known where it is that this deal ends up. We've allowed Newcastle to save face. We've allowed Newcastle to move in the transfer market to go and get other people. We've not gone and broadcast it everywhere, rubbed their noses in it. We've worked collaboratively with another club in order to get a transfer done. And whilst people in the media, from the Telegraph, from other places, were rubbing opposition's noses in it, trying to ego themselves into a position of status, Liverpool fans have been patient. And that is why it's paying off on transfer day. Isak has been looking at houses in Liverpool. He has been looking at moving to the club for quite some time now. And that is just a fact that people are going to have to accept on this transfer day. Newcastle will get more guys. I think they'll probably get this over the line. I think we're going to see Newcastle improve and spend their Coutinho money over the next 24 hours. They've bought in Voltmade. They've bought in, they will bring in this. So I think they will bring another attacking player for around 50, 60 million. Maybe they'll bring in Strand Larsen, someone like that. And ultimately, I think it's been dragged out in a fairly toxic way online with people who wanted to make money from the transfer by saying salacious, crazy things, and B, by people who enjoy this kind of transfer in ruining someone else's fun. People wanted to rain on Liverpool's transfer parade. You can't do that this summer. We've just got the guy that we set out to get. And the reason he pushed for this, the reason he had to go through all of that pain and that humiliation and people questioning his character, all those kind of things, was to get this move. You think that's not going to motivate someone? You think that's not going to make someone more likely to go out there and try and spite you? It's incredible lengths that some people will go to. Yeah, frankly, I think this Liverpool side now have a very good reason to have a siege mentality. And there are probably other teams who have similar with Newcastle, etc. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. How are you feeling today as we move in for Mark Guehi, as we possibly go in for Morgan Rogers if Harvey Elliott leaves, if we end up with a very similar transfer spend to Arsenal in this transfer window, net spend? And after we didn't spend a lot last summer, or, the summer before that or whatever, looking at the net spend of Arsenal and Liverpool over the last few transfer windows, we're looking at basically one elite player's difference between the two players in terms of spend, between the two teams in terms of spend. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me hear all the belly aching. Let me hear all the people complaining. Let me hear all the people who are like, oh, they bought the title. Because that is what people will level at us. Get ready for it. It's what people are going to level at us. Oh, they've had all the fortune. Yeah, injuries happen, all right? Injuries have happened to Liverpool. We were told to get on with it. What were Arsenal told? What was City told? We'll come up with a couple of more. I don't want to do all the videos in one video. So here we are. Liverpool fans, it is Christmas Day. It is Eid. It is Hanukkah. Is it? Do people exchange presents in Hanukkah? I think they... It is Diwali. Do you exchange presents during that? I used to make a lot of the little pots, but it's a while ago since I've learned about it. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching the channel. Let me know how you're feeling in the comments below. Of course, there's a membership down there where I'll give some of my honest thoughts just about everything that's gone on. Of course, there is a Patreon, and of course, there is a Discord and a Super Chat. Go and take a look at all of those. The Discord is absolutely free. I will chat to you guys in the one. Much love. Bye.